people up there working on going over the final checks and verifications on all parts of Ariane's launch systems. Final countdown, we mentioned, began 5:07 this morning. The onboard computers were turned on at 9:12 and the flight program was loaded. Split screen image here showing the propellant feeder arms in the middle of the launch vehicle. We're going to pull back, you get a better picture in just a second. Liquid hydrogen going in on the left, liquid oxygen on the right. What are they doing? They're putting propellant into the upper stage tanks. And you'll see these arms pull back 7 seconds before ignition. They're hidden just behind the upper stage there, along, if you see ESA and Ariane on the back of the gantry, that's where they are. One of the last things you'll see before liftoff, we'd like to take just a minute to point it out. Under 2 minutes, the electrical power supply has been switched from the ground to onboard. That's one of the last things on the list. So little by little, Ariane 5 is becoming more autonomous and ready to go. And you can see here in Jupiter, the invited guests have begun to make their ways outside to watch the liftoff. Bright daylight today. We haven't seen a daylight launch in a while. There are 2 terraces on either side of the building that give a fine view onto the pad. Ariane's trajectory takes her almost right over us here in Jupiter. Gives a fine
Attention
view.
pour moins une minute.
Is going to call up the 1 minute mark, and we will be into the final 60 seconds.
Top, H0 moins une minute.
I don't know if you heard that, but the DDO called out 1 minute mark. Give us a chance to say hello to all of our friends at Intelsat in the US, Maxar in the US, Airbus Defence and Space, OHB, locally to the French Guiana sites, to our industrial partners, ESA and CNES, and to all of you following on the internet. We hope you're enjoying it. We're going to cut away and let you listen to the DDO as he will call out the final seconds. Watch for the cryogenic arms to open. That sets the ball rolling. Enjoy the liftoff.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage du Vulcain. Allumage des EAP et décollage. Paramètres bord sont normaux, la propulsion est nominale. De la manœuvre en roulis. Paramètres bord sont nominaux.
So at 16:30 local time and right on time, Ariane 5 began her mission, lifting off from the ground here in French Guiana with a lot of fire and with 2 new satellites rising into the bright blue sky. Wonderful pictures, trailing exhaust flames of gold. The 2 boosters providing 90% of our thrust right now, propelling the launcher along her trajectory at an ever higher velocity. 775 tons at liftoff, hard to believe. But to get that sort of mass off the ground, you need a lot of push. And push we have. Push you can see there. She's burning 5 tons of fuel every second. 2.5 tons are burning every second in each of the boosters. Plus, the core stage, the middle stage, burning another 300 kilos of fuel every second. Ariane 5 is now following the program in the onboard computer, which gives all the orders, including stage separations. We're going to see those in just about 20 seconds. We're in the first of 4 flight phases as we pass to the animation. We'll be describing each in turn, so you can follow Ariane on her way east across the Atlantic. Right now, the first flight phase, as you can see on the animation, the single first stage engine and the 2 boosters are burning. The boosters burn just over 2 minutes.
La propulsion est nominale, la trajectoire est nominale, tous les paramètres bord sont normaux.
The DDO says everything
Séparation des EAP.
is perfect on board, and he's announced the separation of the boosters, and you can see that That's the 2 points of light on the top, the flames of the 2 boosters flaming out. The single point of light below that is the lower stage, which continues to burn. Fine shots. We may even have shots of the fairing separation coming up in less than a minute. That'll make another 2 points of light in the bright blue sky. The single first stage engine is burning now, taken over from the boosters. The boosters will
La
fall.
propulsion est nominale, la trajectoire est nominale, tous les paramètres bord sont normaux.
DDO says everything is nominal on board. The boosters fall 500 kilometers from shore into a protected area. Look on your screen on the bottom, our altitude 104 kilometers, on the right our speed 2.27 kilometers per second. The speed we need to inject the satellites roughly 8 or 9
Séparation de la
kilometers
croix.
per second as we've separated the fairing. There are actually 2 halves. There's another half on the starboard side of the vehicle, which is out of camera range. We can separate the fairing now because we're out of the dense layers of the atmosphere. Over 100 kilometers up, there's neither friction nor heating, which could disturb the passengers. We can also now discard any dead weight to maximize the launcher's performance, and the fairing weighs 2.5 tons.
La trajectoire est nominale, tous les paramètres bord sont normaux.
So we can get rid of it now. So all is fine on board, coming up on 4 minutes after a liftoff of the 7th Ariane flight of the year. As we look at some of the Arianespace people, we're going to look at, we'll see Charlotte Besco in a minute and Didier Freve from CNES and ESA. The European space effort is a 3-way affair among Arianespace, the European Space Agency, ESA, and CNES, the French Space Agency. You find them all here, along with the customers. Arianespace in charge of operating the family of launchers and marketing the launch services and the Ariane program. ESA
Tous les
funding new
paramètres bord
programs.
sont normaux.
CNES overseeing coordination of all space operations. The Guyana Space Center is the world's only dedicated commercial space base where Arianespace operates a launcher family. That's Ariane 5 soon.
Il reste moins de 4 minutes de
Soyuz
propulsion
and
de
Vega,
l'ETC.
soon to be the updated Vega C. A series of films coming up for you now on the customers. Up first, a look at Intelsat 39.
Hello, I'm pleased to welcome this third Ariane 5 launch of the year with on board 2 passengers.
I heard the DDO call out that milestone will be out of the powered flight phases and into what they call the ballistics phase, or the coasting phase, or the free flight phase. You see the nozzle shutting down there. DDO will confirm cutoff of the upper stage engine occurring at about 670
Arrêt de
kilometers
l'ESC
altitude.
sur demande de guidage.
Our mass now down to 15.5 tons from 775. Ariane has reached her maximum speed, which you can see on the lower right,
Début de la
9.3
manœuvre
kilometers
d'orientation
per
au
second.
profit d'Intelsat 39.
And you'll see her begin to slow down when she separates Intelsat 39 in about 3 minutes. Her speed will be 8.8 kilometers per second. When she releases the Silda, that's the carrying structure for the second passenger, at plus 31 minutes, she'll be flying at 8.59 kilometers per second. And when she separates EDRSC at plus 33.31, plus 33.30, I think it should be, her speed will be down to 8.2 kilometers per second. With the power shut down, we're going to go to our next film, a look at Intelsat's first maneuvers after separation. We'll be back with more. Yeah. The teams have gone through these procedures before, many, many times, but it does call for tremendous focus. You don't want to use the word tense, but I guess focused, concentrated gives you an idea. All eyes on the computer screens, all ears on the phones, awaiting confirmation of our satellite separation. Intelsat 39. Roughly about 10 seconds. That's Intelsat 39 on the right of the screen. Below that is the black bell-shaped structure, is the Silda. That's the carrying structure holding the second satellite. There's the scheduled separation. We're waiting for the DDO's confirmation.
Séparation du satellite Intelsat 39.
And there we are, the first good news, as the men from Intelsat are nodding and pleased. You see they're holding, very politely holding their applause, because the mission, of course, is not over yet. We still have to separate our final passenger. Intelsat 39 separated with a transversal spin. We promised you to show another place where people are hard at work tonight. Now we're going to go up there now. When choosing a space base, the Europeans wanted nearby hills where they could install radar
de la manœuvre
and telemetry.
d'orientation au profit du SILDA.
And this is the CVI, called the Quick Look Telemetry Display Control Center. It's on a hill just behind us here in Jupiter. These teams have all the means for receiving and processing, storing, and analyzing all the data coming in from the ground stations along Ariane's flight path. The downrange tracking stations follow the launcher, and right now these teams are following all the key flight data coming in by radar and telemetry to this post here. And they report the flight status, they report all that data on the launcher back to the teams here in Jupiter. And the announcements you hear made by the DDO come from the CVI. Information going to them first, and then relaying it here, also to the flight desk, of course, and to the Launch Complex Operations Manager. All part of the great information flow from points across the space back to Jupiter. Coming up on SILDA separation. You'll see that. The SILDA will be pushed away from the mothership, just like the satellites were. And there you are. There's the scheduled separation of the SILDA.
Séparation du système de lancement double Ariane, le SILDA.
And the DDO has confirmed it. Intelsat 39 signal will be acquired. The first signal will be acquired by its station in Australia. Going to another film on the Super Data Highway.
Let me know
Representing years of work for many of these people.
Séparation du satellite EDRSC.
Well, the final good news, as you can hear. The applause from the people here in Jupiter. Everybody happy. Ariane 5 delivered her second passenger, EDRSC, out over the Indian Ocean. Handshake, smiles, cigars and champagne forthcoming. So from those very concentrated minutes, just moments ago, you can see the change here in Jupiter. Very buoyant, very happy. The hugs and the kisses all across the Space Center and at the points and posts where people are following the launcher and the satellite. Work will be just beginning there at the different ground stations for both Intelsat 39 and EDRSC, and at the other sites around the world where the satellite's first maneuvers are being monitored. Congratulations all around. EDRSC separated by a longitudinal spin different from the Intelsat 39, which was separated with transversal spin. Just wanted to note that. We're waiting, of course, now for the